At Oklahomans for Criminal Justice Reform, we bring clarity to how policy shapes real lives across Oklahoma. And this is Unintended Consequences. This podcast is about what happens after decisions are made. Not what is intended, but what actually happens in people's lives and communities. In a state with one of the highest incarceration rates in the country, those outcomes matter. We'll be talking with people who have lived experiences and with leaders and organizations working on the ground in the communities across Oklahoma. Each episode, we'll take a closer look at the patterns, what the data shows, and what it means, and how it connects to stability. Because when we understand the full impact of our decisions, we have an opportunity to build something stronger. How has your experience shaped the way you see opportunity and second chances today?
Oh, yeah. I'm coming from such a messed up spot that now when I see messed up spots, I see opportunity instead of blight. You know, a lot of guys wonder why I'm still in the state of Oklahoma and Oklahoma City after what they did to me. You know, and I just had this thing I used to walk around saying all the time, you know, boy, when I get out of Oklahoma, you're going to hear a sonic boom. You know, that's going to be me getting out of Oklahoma so fast, right? But when I got out, I decided to stay. You know, I looked around and seen what a beautiful place it was and how many, you know, all the good opportunities got here, you know? So I don't see, my attitude is positive. I don't look back because nothing but shade. And my future's so bright that I can't see, you know, too far ahead, you know?
Right.
So I just live in the moment and enjoy it, you know. And life is good. Life is beautiful.
You know, there's a couple people in my life that I say, oh, what if I lived that life and what would I do? You know, I had to process that.
Yeah.
Knowing I was going to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
I think I would have been the sonic boom. I don't know if I would. I don't know if I would have wanted to stay in Oklahoma after everything that you went through. Here for only 30 days, put in prison for 48 years. 5 months, 18 days, not including the 4 months that you were in at the county jail. Oklahoma welcomed you in a way that nobody wants to be welcomed, and then to call this place home, and not only call this place home, invest your time to say, I'm gonna make a difference, and that's what you've been doing up to today. Is that you got out. You started a food truck. You started a lot of things. Why don't you talk about those things since the things that you are working on? And I know, and let me just say that I know that you're working on some criminal justice reform. You got choices to do nothing at all, but you've just decided to spend your time helping others. And I think that that's the best part of life, is helping others. And again, you don't have to do it, but you do it. And the manifestation that God gives us is coming through. And so I appreciate you.
Put us in a position, you know, the things we go through in life, it's not about suffering. It's not about pain. It's about you're being positioned for something. You know the story of Excalibur. You know, God found this old piece of corroded ass iron, and he took it and put it in his daddy's kiln and heated it up. It got red hot. He took it out and he started beating it. Boom, boom. He put it back in. He heated. He beat it. He heated. This was what we went through in the penitentiary. You know, we was being positioned for something.
Right.
You know, all that suffering and all that pain and the unjustifiable stuff. It just didn't happen because those people had the power. I believe in the higher, you know, I believe in the higher cause. And I think all that stuff, I was being molded and shaped and positioned for exactly what I'm doing now. That's why I do what I do. You know.
Tell us what you're doing.
Well, first and foremost, I got this organization that we call Grace, Redemption, Salvation, GRS. Perfect formula for reintegration. For by grace, you are saved. And it's by redemption that you receive salvation. Yeah, so we got this reintegration program for guys getting back out. We try to offer counseling, jobs, housing, where we can, how we can. We just starting. We just getting it started off. But we are a 18-month wraparound support system. Statistics show that 70% of all inmates get out of prison return back within 6 to 18 months. So we focus on data. The 6 to 18 months, like a baby coming out of the womb. And this baby need constant, intense support for the first 6 to 18 months. That's how it is coming out of prison. He said, that's why I sit on the side of that prison bunk for all them years, watching my friends in and out, in and out. I mean, guys are smart.
Right.
Guys got degrees and stuff, and guys they're not in criminal life no more. But somehow they get out here and they can't make it. They're unemployed and they're unemployable. And they can't make it and they, do something. Sometimes they don't have to do nothing. Just a parole violation for being with your nephew who had a criminal record.
Can't pay your fines and fees.
Can't pay your fines and you're back in prison.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. And criminal justice reform. Me and my guy was talking about it, and a lot of time it's in the terminology that we use. We talking about reform, criminal justice. Think about the origin of how it was formed, and then think, do you want to reform this or scrap this and start over?
My friend, I have some friends that say that's what the system is not fixable.
Yes.
I've heard that sentiment.
And if you're gonna fix it, what about refinement? We keep trying to reform, a hunk of mess. I mean, there's benefit in bullshit. If I'm gonna grow some crop, I'm gonna get some cow poo,
Right.
and get the benefit from the bull,
Right.
Well, there's some benefit in this stuff. We got to get the benefit out of all this bullshit we done created, and because it's not benefiting nobody. It's benefiting. Yeah, let me take that back. It's definitely benefiting somebody. It's always about the money. When you confused about a situation, no matter what it is, you can call it racism, sexism, whatever. You follow the money, and it begin to make sense to you. All this whole thing, this prison stuff and all this stuff, time I've been in, follow the money, and you'll see
Right.
where it makes sense at, Criminal justice reform. Now, let me say this here. My offer, my contribution, what I would like to see in criminal justice reform. Like I said, I found the evidence 20 years ago. This evidence not only point to my innocence. This evidence points to conspiracy cover-up. This evidence points to police conspiracy cover-up. Not only do it points to that, the evidence points to attempted murder because they knew the death penalty was on the table. Tried to kill me. See, I got other ways of looking at this stuff than the people, in these positions that wasn't affected by it. There's another term that I could put on them. Accessory to murder. You look at the Oklahoma statute and the definition of accessory to murder. You have to murder or get away. When you got me, instead of getting the one they told you that shot, you have to murder or get away. These are the issues that criminal justice reform, when I get to talking about it, I got my investment is too deep because, it will look real radical and real revolutionary when I come with criminal justice reform because I know the origin of it and what it was set up for and how it worked. And we are a nation of laws.
Right.
We couldn't have stayed in slavery 300-something years without legislative act. It's not that we didn't fight. It's not that we didn't escape. We didn't file red. It was the laws that kept us in there. And right now today, it's the laws that kept me in prison. It's the laws that do it. We are a nation of laws. So my thing is, if you want to do some reforming, you got to reform the legislators who make the laws. You know what I'm saying? That's where the reform come in at.
Yeah. And there's a lot of systems that legislators are engaged with that they create more problems than they help. But they come in thinking that they're helping or being tough on crime, but really they're making the system worse.
We need to rethink the way we do this.
Yeah.
Obviously, it don't work.
Yeah.
Not just the 48 years or 5 months, even before that. But I'm a living witness that it don't work.
Right.
It don't work at all. So my idea when I got out was get all my guys, who've been in and done that and know from the inside out. Put them in position. Put them on a parole board. I got this idea about a committee. I was talking about this conviction integrity unit. Oklahoma just don't have one. Oklahoma City. It got them everywhere else. Conviction integrity unit. Let this organization or this panel review these cases that got credible showings of actual innocence. They shouldn't have to do no 20 more years, man, because of procedural default. I got real colorable showing that I'm innocent, and they will never look at it.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So let these guys be over them panels and stuff. These guys coming out because they smart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Damaged goods, could be reformed, and that's what they are. They smart. They could do this stuff from the inside out. That's why I started to stay involved. That's the only thing I know. And then when Trump got elected, I'm like, oh, man, I ain't going nowhere.
Well, let me ask you this question. Because the average person think that there's not much, there's no correction in the correction system. There's no corrections, there's no rehabilitation in the correction system of DOC.
Okay, yeah, I got
that there's no real rehab that's happening now. You've seen a system that was a little bit more involved in having programs to a system that struggles financially sometimes and doesn't give all the programs and training that people that are incarcerated once had. Is rehab happening? Rehabilitation happening in our correctional facilities?
To rehabilitate is to put you right back where you was. The habitation, what you do, rehabilitate, to put you back in the habitation where you come from. So what's the objective of rehabilitation? See, we don't get the answers because we don't ask the right questions.
Right.
And we go round and round on these things and we don't ask the right questions. Rehabilitation, you rehabilitate. That's what we're saying. We're going to put him back where he was, where he originally was. He come from a crime invested neighborhood. He in there because, of poverty and missed opportunities and stuff. And you're going to put him back into that? Now we need to rethink these things. And that's why I'm rethinking these things. This guy got out 6 weeks ago, right? 6 weeks ago. The guy got a job. The guy got a house.
And that's so important. It's important to talk about that job and that house because it's your organization that you're starting.
Yeah.
That is taking a different look on how to best help the people coming out of prison. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about how your organization is operating, how you're partnering with organizations. OCJR wants to be a partner with your organization. Why don't you tell them what your organization's name is again?
Grace, Redemption, Salvation.
And
it's a reintegration program. Yeah, for guys coming out, mostly long-term offenders. But we beginning to see now that it's a lot of women. Oklahoma been number one in incarceration in women, for 30 years. And nobody addressed that. I've seen a lot of guys get elected. Then nobody had that on their campaign. Why is Oklahoma number one in incarceration?
Right.
So we trying to, with Grace, Redemption, and Salvation, we trying to do those things with the present organization having trouble doing. They're providing jobs and housing for guys coming out of prison. When we say housing at GRS, we're not talking about no living center like Atkins Center or whatever else, some apartment with 10 other guys in it.
Right.
We're talking about living center where you could readjust back to society,
Right.
The guy got a 3-bedroom house. right, is employed, right? Uh, you got we
Having that sense of job, not only sense of job, having a job,
uh-huh.
and having that sense of self and pride is so important with
It's
people
so
come.
important on coming back out. It's boy, it's so important. It's one of the main things that I got. I wasn't in no facility where a whole lot of guys were. 'Cause I just like still in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like you being in the old living centers and stuff, and you guys see, you all crowded. Just stay in prison mentality, and prison outlook, prison feel, prison taste, and everything. They need to be straight away from all of that, and at least for the first 6 months out. And I'm thinking we just gotta rethink the way we do this stuff.
Right.
We gotta put our money where our mouth is, and Oklahoma got the money to do it. Right now, I'm doing this stuff. I got a little funding of my own. I ain't got no corporate funding, nobody trying to match. I'm just doing it on my own, hoping that, others will see me and come in and do it because they're doing the same thing. I haven't tried to partner up with nobody yet because we just getting started. And this guy here and the guy that brought us up here, he been in the program for 18 months, and
Right.
that's the graduate. He got a testimony about how well the program, he buying his own house now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, he been in like 30, 40 years, had 5 licenses. Now he out buying his own house, got a job buying his own. These are the kind of success stories I'm going to talk about, that we can do this stuff.
It's so important that they hear your
Yeah.
your stories.
Yeah.
It's important that people know you have a lot of great characteristics about you.
Thank you.
One of those characteristics, one of the things that you talked about is that you were only here for 30 days before you were arrested for a crime you did not commit,
Right.
put on death row
Right.
after that. But what they don't know is that you'd moved up from Louisiana,
Yeah.
but when you got out of prison, you could have gone back to Louisiana or some other part of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
You could have been probably on some island somewhere, but you decided to
Still
stay
can.
stay in Oklahoma and continue to do some work and help those people behind you. Now, we've already talked about how you started Grace Redemption Salvation organization to help people just like you that have
Yes.
served a long time, short time. Can you talk about that just a little bit more? And we have a guest with us
Yeah.
that we'll be talking to in a second. His name's James Lewis, one of the people that Grace Redemption and Salvation is helping today.
Right.
But it's a perfect formula for reentry is what the tagline is,
That's
which
right.
is pretty awesome. But the beautiful thing about it is the story about how you came up with this. You always knew you were going to be a free man.
Oh, yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
and so your brain was always working to when I get out. So tell everybody how you came up with this idea.
I came up with this idea. A friend of mine that got out and come back, and we sit on the side of that bunk with a million dreams and plans on, being successful when he get out, and how you gonna help me and do this when he get out. Come back 6 months later, violation of parole or some kind of stuff. But this was constantly happening. I watched these guys grow old, in and out, life on installment. And I'm confused. What's happening? Why they keep coming back? You said, who on your left something? You had to come back to get something you left or something. But they was all coming back. And I started studying the statistics on recidivism. First I had to study what do recidivism mean. I never knew what the word meant. And I studied what it meant, and statistics showed at this time it was 72%. Recidivist, 72%. What it said was if I let 100 people out today, within 6 to 18 months, 72 of them will be back. I'm like, what? And I'm talking about the guys, the character. If you knew the character of the guys that motivated me to start this study, then you would. And so I started studying it. And what caught my attention was that 6 to 18 months. Uh, uh, that's how long it takes to get truly reintegrated. You never truly reintegrated back in. When we come to prison, we become social retards. We could become socially stagnant, and this is a highly competitive society. And you put us in prison, say, 5 years, 10 years for a crime that we committed. And we committed the crime because we wasn't competitive enough to adjust to this society without committing the crime, trying to take a shortcut, right? So we commit a crime and we get put in prison, and in prison you are compelled to reverse your normal human psychology. So you won't get write-ups, for insubordination and stuff like that. So what you do, you reverse in order to survive in here, right? You don't have so far as paying your bills and stuff, the state got that covered. Food, clothes, and shelter, what to wear, what to eat. You don't have to worry about none of that. So your dependence, you become, total dependent on the state. All this kind of stuff, right? And these guys keep coming back, and I'm trying to figure out why they're coming back. I come to find out that the prison want them to come back. That's why they don't have reintegration or nothing in prison. That's why they don't teach them skills and stuff that will go help them when they get out. They don't teach them skills. And a lot of guys, the skills that they do learn, by the time they get out, those skills are obsolete. I took basic computing and all that stuff. I ain't got a clue now. Because I took Windows 8 and Windows 12. That's, years ago, right?
Right.
And so the reintegration, and I'm thinking, well, when I first started this, it was back in 2004. I'm gonna give you some history. Of 2004, this was these cell phone stuff coming into prison, illegal phones. I got me an illegal phone. Never been no goody two shoe. I was always gonna break a rule. If the incentive was lesser than the deterrent, I'm gonna take the incentive, right? Because what they gonna do? Lock me up? I'm already locked up. Right. Nothing they could do. So
right.
And so I get me a phone, and I started this organization on the phone. People come from church once every third Sunday. I have them meet up over at one of my sister's house, my mama's house. I had these bylaws, African American Culture Club bylaws and stuff. And I revived these bylaws and started an organization on the phone. Had elections and everything coming from the bylaws, my sisters and everybody. It was a referral center. We gonna refer you to where you can get jobs and stuff. Like, we wasn't raising no money or nothing. Only money we had was donations from family. We had a couple of fundraisers, but it was a referral center. Well, Katrina happened, and everybody went. Life happened, and everybody went
all different ways.
Different ways, and so I got Grace, Redemption, and Salvation in a folder, in an envelope. All them years, couldn't never do nothing with it. When I got out, first thing I decided to do, this is what I'm gonna do when I get out. I'm not going back. No way I'm gonna go back. But I got a lot of friends that was constantly going back. We could never figure out, and it was because they wasn't having that wraparound support system. When I got out in the first 3 weeks, I had food stamps, I had Social Security, I had ID, with the basics, right? But I wasn't able to get housing. I wasn't able to get a job. The main things that I knew that do need to stay out here.
Right.
Right. And so when I got the money, when I got my money, I decided, well, I'm gonna start from the top to the bottom. I'm gonna start from the bottom to the top. I'm gonna provide housing and job, and we're gonna work the West as we go.
Right.
But the most essential thing was housing. And we're not talking about housing, no apartment congested, just like the prisons and stuff. We're talking about a house where you have some space, where you can be independent, where you could breathe. You know what I'm saying? You can pay your own bills and be responsible and stuff, to get that self-determination back. So this is what Grace, Redemption, and Salvation is about. And I think it's going to be a build. We're going to need help, though.
Well, let me just say that we're excited as executive director for Oklahomans for Criminal Justice Reform. We look forward to partnering with organizations like yours to help you, because you all are the people that are
been there.
Not only been there, but you are the boots on the ground helping the communities of individuals that we are trying to help throughout the state by changing the laws, by making sure the research is done and handed to the legislators so we can try to create a more just system, modernizing our justice system. but we have a guest
Yeah.
with us, someone that is benefiting from grace, redemption, and salvation system.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to ask him to come visit, but we have visit and share his story. But you've been out 6 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Your
Yes,
name is James Lewis.
James Lewis, yes, sir.
All right. Well, let me just say this. I want to welcome you,
Thank you,
to the podcast, and want to just excited that you're there, that you're here to visit and just kind of talk about your experience with grace, redemption, and salvation, and how they're helping you currently.
All right. Well, part of my story is I went to prison very young, at 14.
Age
So,
14,
yes, sir.
you go to prison, and thank you for sharing that.
Yes, sir.
You went to prison, but you have a unique distinction in the United States.
Yes.
And what is that unique distinction?
Well, in 1988, I was the first and youngest juvenile to ever be certified and sentenced to a mandatory life sentence in the United States. It was the beginning of the crime wave, so to speak. 1988, society was afraid and beginning to make rules, that didn't leave very many opportunities, for those unfortunate or less fortunate, that, the help and things that, they may have needed at the time. So anyways, I went to prison at 14, didn't know.
With grown men.
Yes, with grown men.
You're in prison with grown men.
Yes, sir.
And again, I just said it. You've been out for 6 weeks.
For 6 weeks.
But you still look young. So give
Yes.
people an idea how old you are today.
I'm 52 years old.
All right.
I'm 52 years old.
Did you two know each other prior to you getting out?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I was fortunate. God has been with me the whole journey. And I was fortunate to meet a gentleman like Mr. Glynn that saw something in me even at a young age.
Mr. Glynn.
And kind of helped me grow. He's been a part of my life that whole time, periodically, here and there. And so when he got out, and he decided that he was going to move forward with criminal justice reform, really trying to make a difference. He could have took his money and ran, like you said, and left the situation the way that it was. But the situation was so profound to him that he had a calling to come back and to make a difference. And so I was fortunate to be one of those guys. I didn't have the opportunity to. I didn't know how to drive a car. I never had a job. I never did anything in society as an adult. So you would think that my reintegration back into society would be such of such a magnitude that I wouldn't be able to go because I never experienced any of those things, right? Well, because of the grace that I was given by his organization, he put me in position not only to have the opportunity to breathe and to grow, but also to appreciate what it is to have the responsibilities of an adult, to pay my bills, to have a job. Those things are empowering. So instead of being crushed by the pressure, first getting out, not knowing anything about society, I was empowered to start in a position that I could grow up to. Had a vision, had an expectation of what life is supposed to be. And sometimes in life, you got to see where you're going.
Right.
Well, his organization gave me the opportunity to see where I'm going.
Right.
So now I can move and have the space to move into that growth like that, and so it's a great opportunity.
Now, James, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's going to kind of maybe catch you a little off guard. But you were 14 years old when you walked in that.
Yes, sir.
You spent 38 years.
38 years.
Now, let me just say this. Mr. Simmons spent 48 years, 5 months, 18 days.
Yes.
How long did you serve in the penitentiary? Now, do you know the months and days?
I couldn't tell you.
You need to learn that because it's so important to the story. It's so important to the story. All right, it's so important to the story.
I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna get that thing correct. I'm gonna get it all the way to the minute.
It matters, bro. It matters.
Yeah, no, it matters. It's so important. But you walked in as a child.
Yes.
Grew up around grown men.
Yes.
You were incarcerated with grown men. My question is, the day you got out, what did you walk away in your hands? What did they give you as you walked out those gates? Tell me, a lot of people want to know, well, were you given a bus ticket? What did you have of value that left with you that day?
I had the accumulated savings of an $11 a month gang pay. You know, the $2 or $3 that came up off that, which, added up to a couple of $100, and a duffel bag with pictures and paperwork. Left in the parking lot of a Edmond courthouse, and right there, called Mr. Simmons. He said, "Don't worry about it." He said, "We got you." And the next day, I went to my brother's house that night. The next day, he got me up to Oklahoma City to his organization. Went through the orientation. Got me into a house, and never looked back since.
Well, let me just tell you, not everybody gets to make those phone calls and then have people in their life. Mr. Simmons, how important is it that family connection, that relationship with people on the outside? How important is that relationship with people that are on the inside?
Oh, it's tremendously important. It's tremendously important in one sense. In the other sense, sometimes you don't need it. Sometimes you need to shake a lot of them. I'm talking about the ones that's from the outside, because they don't. I call this thing the vampire. You know the story of the vampire?
Tell me about this
story. You got to
story.
welcome him. He can't come in your house unless you invite him.
Right.
And once he in, ain't no garlic gonna get him out. Ain't no holy water, no cross gonna get him out. You got to get up personal, shoulder to shoulder with a stake.
Yeah.
So in that prison, so that when I'm talking about the vampire, I'm talking about toxicity. And when you're in that prison, the last thing you need is people on the outside calling you with a whole bunch of toxicity, right? Because you need to be at peace. You need tonic stuff to heal yourself for the illness and the depression and the stuff that you're going in. So now a lot of people don't want to call more people. Sometimes you don't hear from little poo-poo who got baby mama drama and making them foolish mistakes that ain't got nothing to do with you. And they're going to bring you nothing but depression. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's very important that they have contact relationships on our side, but they need to be positive ones. They need to be progressive ones. If anybody need that, it's the people in prison that's locked up trying to get out.
Right.
They needed that, just as much as people out here do.
So, and we're gonna wrap up. I'm gonna ask you a question, and James, I'm gonna ask if I want you to keep us up aware of your story.
Yes,
I want to bring you back here soon and
Yes, sir.
and talk about the success that you've had with Grace Redemption and Salvation organization, and I'm so happy that you have a job. I'm so happy you have a place to live.
Guess who he worked for?
Who does he work for?
Free Man Foods.
Free Man Foods.
He employed for Free Man Foods.
And we're gonna talk about that before we get out of here.
I would like to comment on this as well. I mean, just like him, when you went through some things, God touches you in a certain way. So this story is not just about me having housing and me having a job. The issue is societal. And so it takes people like me, like Glynn, to make a difference in what's going on. This whole conversation is about criminal reform, right?
Criminal justice reform.
Criminal justice reform. But all that is after the fact. it's after the fact that you done got in trouble. It's after the fact you didn't, and so with that being said, it still burdens the system, right? So when we had the opportunity to have the grace that I've been shown, my life is not my own no more. I got to give back.
Yes, sir.
To strengthen the society that I helped damage, right?
And that's one of the requirements of GRS, that you give back.
Yeah.
That the same thing was done for you, you do it for the ones coming behind you.
Yeah.
That's how we try to do it. You got to commit to that.
Right.
To give it back. Everything we give, we don't owe us nothing, but there's some coming behind you.
Yeah.
Right.
Pay it forward,
Now, Mr. Simmons, now everybody doesn't know about Freeman's truck, okay? But what I want you to do is talk about it. I want you to talk about Grace Redemption Salvation, which is a company that you own. You also have a food.
I don't own Grace Redemption Salvation.
Okay.
I'm just the founder.
Oh, you're the founder. Okay.
I'm just the founder.
You're the founder.
Yeah.
But it was giving birth out of your cell.
Yeah, that's myself.
All right.
That's
Well,
right.
I'm gonna give you credit, but one of those other businesses that you started is a food truck.
Free Man Foods. Yeah.
Free Man Foods, and let me just tell you, I've heard good things about it, and I'm sure that people know how to find you. You can. It's gonna be parked somewhere around the city, and you can get the best burgers, chicken, everything just right there. And so I want to make sure that they come find Free Man's food
Free
truck.
Man's Foods.
And you'll get to meet James because he's one of our cooks, right?
Yeah.
All
He
right.
might not be a cook. He might be on the cash register.
Okay, cash register. Hey, but let me tell you, it's all a part of the bigger plan.
Yes, sir. It's all part of the
And so why don't you talk about Free Man's food truck, how they connect with you? I'm sure you're on social media, but more importantly, I want you with that. Do not give out your cell phone number, but I do want you to.
Oh, it's on the side of the truck.
Well, I do want you to tell people how to get in touch with Grace Redemption and Salvation Organization. I think it's so important.
The cue card. It's on the cue card.
The business card.
Now you can go online and put it up. GRS.
I want you to give it because they need to hear if they have a loved one that's coming out.
Okay.
I sure would love for you to tell them to reach out or how is it best that it works? Should they reach out to the organization? Do y'all have a website? Okay, what's that website?
I can't see. It's all on the
Okay, let me see the. All right, my eyes are bad too. Let me see. It looks like you can get information. You can email information to info@Grace Redemption Salvation Inc. inc.org.
Yeah. Inc.
All right. You can give them you can email them at info@Grace Redemption Salvation Inc.org. And so if somebody has a loved one that's coming out that fits in that space, you all will tell them if they fit the right profile. And do you just is your organization helping men and women or just
we just started, we just got launched, and that's what we're looking for, women. I'm glad you put that out because the women is the ones that's next, up. It's not too many organizations that's focusing on the women, and I'm talking about elder women just like these elder men that's unemployed and unemployable. What we're gonna need is funding. I got funding. I started off with my funding, the funding I was able to raise. Everything was started with the funding I was able to provide, but I'm gonna need matching funding to go forward. And we don't even have grants or nothing yet. It's all been done through personal money,
Yeah.
And we're gonna need funding and stuff to go forward. Not only that, but speaking of funding, James got kicked out of prison after 38 years with no food, no clothing, no shelter, no medication, no transportation. James need help. He need help. James got a GoFundMe page. Go to James Lewis GoFundMe. That's in the James Lewis GoFundMe, and make a charitable donation to James, GoFundMe page. And James, and you got family and friends, James gonna be the one helping your family and friends when they come out. This organization gonna consist the operators of this gonna consist of guys getting out of prison. You said that when we gonna get some houses for the guys to reintegrate back in houses, the site manager of them houses is gonna be these guys.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Who know the prison and know what these guys going through. You know, we're gonna do this hands-on. We're trying to get on the parole board. Grace, Redemption, Salvation, we need a member on the parole board. You know, and we need a member that done time. You know, been in and done time on the parole board. Criminal justice reform, we with it. But we talking about, you know, major reform. We ain't just talking about tamping around the edges of stuff. We're talking reform that's actually needed.
Right.
You know?
Right. Well, let me just thank you both for being here. And I just want to talk to my audience real quick. I just want to thank the audience for tuning in today. Again, I'm Mike Shelton, and we've had the amazing story of Mr. Glynn Simmons, served 48 years, 5 months, 18 days in our penitentiary system. We've also gotten an opportunity to introduce you to Mr. James Lewis, that served 38 years in our penitentiary. But his story is really unique. His story is unique because he was the youngest. He went into penitentiary at the age of 14 years old, served 38 years, and is 52 years today. He was the youngest child ever to be convicted of life without possibility of parole, and he served his time. He is out. He is working with the Grace.
He's working with Free Man Foods.
Free Man Foods, but being served by also Grace Redemption Salvation Center. And we're so grateful to have them. We want you to stay tuned. We got some great podcasts in store for you. And I want to thank my guests, and I want to thank you, most importantly, for joining. Please share this podcast, but please like and tell your friends about it. We appreciate you for joining us on Unintended Consequences.